Urban cottage vibe, and I really like that. So each season, actually, almost every week, there's something new growing in the garden, and this new color in the garden. Hello and welcome to Catherine's Garden. It's so good to be here with you today. I hope all is well with you, and I hope that you are enjoying the summertime. Yeah, summertime, summertime. And so it is getting warmer here in my urban cottage garden, and things are changing, and the plants are showing me that too. I can see it with the pansies and the Johnny Jump Ups that they are suffering because of the heat, and you start to see them kind of withering, and they require a whole lot more attention if you want to see them continue to flourish in the garden. They need constant watering, but also they have their time. I want to talk to you about the mixed border planting and the fact that I really love in the beds to have a smorgasbord of different plants, perennials, annuals, bulbs, summer bulbs, lilies, um, and even some food, vegetables in my beds. I like to see them all grow up together. It just makes the border of the bed interesting. And I think that they all benefit from being together. The pots that were on top of the deck, I moved them over into this corner here. I just felt that it needed a little more life. It's just a little too green. I think that they are doing what they're supposed to be doing there. Those are the Gerber daisy plants that were on the deck. And then those other two plants, these are cabbages, actually. You see that? Begonias, annual begonias, and the cabbage all the way across. And then at the end I have kale. And then that's the still bee. Then you can see my pear tree. And then those are Johnny Jump Ups and pansies underneath, and they are doing very well. I think because that area of the garden is a little more cooler because of the trees and the shade. It gets sun, but it's a little more cooler. I think it's turning out pretty good. Isn't that a pretty corner? It's very still this morning, and the temperature is comfortable. It's like 68, 70. It's going to head into the 80s, and it's been very, very dry in our area. I am just praying for rain. We've been wetting the garden. My husband wets it at night and waters it at night, and so the garden wakes up fresh, at least in the morning. Only problem is the mosquitoes. Ugh, they are a pain, the mosquitoes. But other than that, everything is so nice. I moved my Japanese maple tree over here in the corner, so it's a little bit more cooler. I had it in the sun. Well, it had morning or daytime sun, and it was losing its purpley color. You know, that beautiful maple kind of color. It's getting very green, so I don't want it to fry. So I decided to let me move it and put it over here. You can see in the tips, it's well watered, but I love it here on the patio. To me, it's like a patio plant. It just adds a certain ambiance to the patio or the deck. Almost zen-like. It's very pretty. And I love the pot that it's in right now, at least for now. And then over here, you can see the calla lilies getting larger. The leaves are growing. And I assume that soon I will have flowers with the calla lilies. Let's take a closer look. Aren't the leaves unique? This is my first time planting calla lilies. And I think that the leaves are so unique. Look at the spots on the leaves. This one has striations. So I'm assuming that that particular one is different in terms of the color. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see if the color will be different. Let's look down in it. You see any buds? I wouldn't even know what it looks like, if what the buds would be looking like coming up. This is the picture here. Anyway, I'm happy to have it and try something new. Then the other thing that I'm trying to do here is, look at this. This cage, a patio, tomato patio, a plant was in it, and I decided to use this instead to plant this watermelon. I was supposed to transplant it and put it in the front, but I don't know, I'm trying something different. I actually saw someone else plant a watermelon plant in a pot, and they were able to get a watermelon, you know, to grow watermelons. So I decided to try it out myself. I love the leaves. Yeah, the leaves are so pretty. If anything, it'll just add some beauty with the leaves. Now this is my my grapevine. Makes me want to sing, oh, I heard it through the grapevine. It is growing. Yes, I'm going to have to transplant it soon. But for right now, it could go ahead and live here on the deck. Seems to like it. The leaves are massive, I think. Today I want to talk to you about having a mixed border or having a mixed planting within a garden bed. And also I want to introduce to you my hydrangeas. Yes, I have two major hydrangea bushes, and they're called mophead hydrangeas, and I just love them. And I've been able to propagate them and add them to different parts of the garden. So we're going to walk around and take a closer look at the hydrangea shrubs. So in my garden, I have a short growing season. I am in the Northeast in the New England area, and my zone is zone 6. And so we have a short growing season, and we've had a really cool spring. So it's taken a while for things to grow. And just to keep things lively and interesting and to keep the color in the garden, I've had to develop a mixed border. It also gives my garden a cottage feel. Yes, it has an urban cottage vibe, and I really like that. So each season, actually almost every week, there's something new growing in the garden, and there's new color in the garden. And that keeps the garden interesting for this time period. And right now, the hydrangeas are at the top of the peak. They're the featured plant. And I also have BeeBalm that's starting to open up, as well as the petunias are really unfolding, and they're getting blousy and full of color, and I'm really enjoying that as well. Let's look over here. I still have a little bit of curly pink. And looking down at the hydrangeas, they're beautiful. Over here, you can see the BeeBalm. I like the contrast with the leaves of the hosta. And then of course with the hydrangea, red and white, very patriotic. The green taking the place of the blue. You know, the hummingbirds love the BeeBalm. And since I planted the BeeBalm there last year, I was able to see hummingbirds fly in close by, and they enjoyed the nectar from the BeeBalm. Well, over here the garden's looking pretty decent. I also planted some BeeBalm over here where the goat's beard is. See that red? Doesn't that look cute? The red and the white and green. Soon the goat's beard would be completely finished. You see this here? Right here? That's what it'll turn out to be. It'll start to look like it's gaining seeds. So it'll shift from that to that. Really interesting. But there's some other red in the garden. You see my red flowers. That's impatiens. They're doing pretty good this year. Some years the impatiens don't grow very well. After a while they just seem to, I don't know, fade. But I'm trying them again. And here is my Gerberdae plant in the pot. Just to add some color to that back bed. I think it's coming out pretty good. And so that's what it looks like. So come with me as we walk around and we explore the garden together. The roses pretty much have died off, or there there are a few blossoms still there, but they're not at their prime. Whereas now the hydrangeas are coming forward, and they are the mop head hydrangeas. That's what I have in my garden, the mop head hydrangeas, and they are pretty much blue in color, and this particular one is called Endless Summer Nico Blue. And it is going to go through stages of different coloring as the summer progresses. It starts off a light white color, and then it turns into a baby blue, and then a deep blue, and very bright blue. And then in the fall, it's also going to change color again as well. And then I also have another hydrangea, which is of the same family of the mop heads, and that's called Bridal Bouquet. And that also is now opening up. And I've noticed that in certain parts of the garden where I've placed them, that they too are turning a blue color as well. There's like on the tips, this like a baby blue, an accent of blue. And that happens, but it seems to be kind of early for that because they're just starting to bloom. But anyway, I'm enjoying them. And a couple of years back, I propagated the hydrangeas. Yes. I was listening to Mike Kincaid, and he talked about propagating hydrangeas and creating more shrubs. So I like the ones that I have in my garden, and I decided, well, I'm going to try this out. So I bought myself some rooting hormone, and I took a clipping, and I was able to create a seedling. And I put it in the ground, and now they're matured into really substantial shrubs. So it does work, and it's a way of adding to the garden without having to go out there and buy new plants. And I like that about the garden because the garden knows how to multiply. And you can see that too with my hostas. That's why I have hostas all throughout the garden. It's because I've been able to divide and to multiply and let seed, and it's filled up the garden. But I love it specifically with the hydrangeas, being able to propagate the hydrangeas in my garden. And I want to continue to do that. So as we go along, I am going to show you and do some propagation just to increase the hydrangeas in the back. I did that like 2 years ago, and some of them have returned, some of them are growing fairly well, but I want to thicken it up, so I'm going to do that again. But in the meantime, let's enjoy the hydrangeas. The hydrangea bush here is doing very, very well. In the daytime, when the heat is on it, it just droops, the leaves droop, and it's because of the intense heat. But by the time we give it some water, it restores itself. And so in the morning, it's looking so healthy and nice. And the blue is actually getting very intense here. Each day it's just a little bit deeper in color. I'm going to have to take cuttings soon because I want to propagate this plant and have more. So beautiful. I was thinking of buying another hydrangea bush and putting it in the garden, but I think that I want this blue to be in other parts of the garden. You can see it in the back garden there, the blue. At the time when I bought this plant, I bought 4 of them. And it looks so pretty from the distance. So you can kind of see here and there, right? The pattern. It gives some depth to the garden. That's what I think. Provides depth. So you see the close and you see the distance. I propagated this hydrangea bush from the mother plant over on the other end, and now do you see how beautifully big it's become? It really loves this corner. The idea was to flank it from this side, have one on this end, and then all the way over here to have the other one on this end. And this one is the mother plant. It's very happy here. I also have another one that I propagated in the front, and it's doing well. So I may just decide to do this one, to propagate this. This one is bridal bouquet. Now, I'm not selling them. I'm just growing it here in my garden. So, I'm not going against the trademark. You know, I honor them. The ones who created this, because it's not for sale. It's just to add to my garden. Add some more beauty. This is also Endless Summer too. This is the bridal bouquet that I propagated. And it's been here for a while, and it's growing really well. I love the fact that it's peeking through the picket fence. You definitely see the different stages here of the development of the hydrangea. Starts off small like this. And then starts to get a little larger. And then this is the last stage. You see the blue, the tint of blue? It's very gentle, soft blue. But then in the fall, you're going to be amazed to see how it's going to turn into a totally different color. Sort of lets you know the change of the season. If you like this video, then like, share, and subscribe. Comment down below. What are you doing to bring interest into your garden? What are your favorite plants? And do you love having a mixed border of shrubs, perennials, annuals, bulbs? And what kind of plantings have you put in your garden? Do you like the full cottage look, or do you like it to be very neat and tidy? What is your garden style? Well, see you next time in Catherine's garden. Bye. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to Catherine's Garden for more videos. I'm hoping to continue to take you through each week, maybe even each day, all of the changes that are happening in the garden because they're happening rapidly. So stick with me. Come and spend some time with me here in the garden, Catherine's Garden. Have a wonderful day. Bye.